Hey guys, it's Redox. Thanks again for joining me here with another CNC Rivals video. I decided to do a third Rivals Champions run after showcasing the first two Rivals Champions run on my live stream, and I decided to play on the iPad this time, and it was just all by myself. It was 100% focus on just me playing on the game on the iPad, and it turned out that I played a lot better. I was able to focus a lot better in these games on my iPad without talking, without live streaming any of that, and I performed pretty well. So let's take a look at this first game right here, guys. I'm gonna go into a Harvester. My opponent, he's just gonna go right into those War Dogs. It's clear to see that he's got those War Factory build, and I'm not really going for a War Factory build. My army composition was more of a balanced army, and I really focused on jump jets because I could really micro these jump jets very well when I was playing by myself on the iPad. The smaller screen and definitely moving my fingers on tapping on the screen was a lot easier to do, and I had a really good time playing on my iPad in general, as opposed to playing on the screen, on a 24-inch screen with the mouse. As you guys can see, I am completely outmaneuvering this guy with my jump jets and my infantry units. He's very focused on killing my jump jets. My whole strategy in this Champions run was to kind of get my infantry arsenal set up with my riflemen and a shockwave in the beginning, and then have a jump jet right away go for these harvesters, because a lot of your opponents will try to do a harvester, or they'll build two harvesters and then they'll immediately go into a tech lab, and I didn't want to deal with any of that headache. The better player will micro a lot better with his units, and if you are certainly a better player than your opponent, you'll know that stopping these tech labs is a very important part of the game, unless you're going for a double harvester build yourself. But I found myself to be I found myself to have a higher success rate when I am actually taking control of the game, when I'm not letting my opponent go for those double harvesters. This guy is wanting to go for a tech lab, but I'm doing so much damage with my jump jets, and at the same time, now he's got to capture this missile. He actually ends up firing an ion cannon on the top to try to save the second missile here, as he really needed to get that missile off. But I quickly get a jump jet onto the top. I block the shockwave on the bottom with the turret, and my fast moving jump jets just getting onto the launch pad much quicker than his units could at the end there really grabbed me the win. The other thing was, I was all over the map. Instantly I was sending out jump jets trying to kill those harvesters. That got him distracted. That deterred his strategy, because so many players try to go into that tech lab. Alright, this is the second game I want to show you guys, and it's against the Nod opponent in this Champions run, and I'm gonna go once again into it. I use the same army. That's the other tip I have for you guys when you guys are doing the Champions run. Don't switch up the armies. That's a mistake I made in some of my Champions run, and if you switch your army halfway and you're doing pretty well, then you're not used to the new army that you built, so you're gonna have a harder time winning against your opponent. But anyways, going back to this game, guys, my opponent's got double militants, but his militants are one level lower than my riflemen. So I built a shockwave just to quickly clear out these units, and I also had a feeling he might go for a flame squad as well. But he goes for a buggy, which was an excellent counter to my shockwaves and my riflemen, of course. I went for a second shockwave, a little bit too early on that second shockwave there. And I know I'm going to have to counter this by going into jump jets, or I could have went for War Factory. Now, the jump jets, I absolutely love these guys, especially when you're able to focus on the game 100%, which was something I had a hard time doing when I live stream, just because I'm talking, and also I find playing on the iPad, once again guys, a lot easier. This game is definitely a lot easier on a tablet or on a phone instead of a big computer screen where you have to move the mouse around. This game was not optimized to play on the computer. If I was to be honest with you guys, unless you really do like playing it on the computer, but I much more prefer on the iPad or on a phone, as I am able to micro my units much better, much more efficiently, and using the jump jets for me was a lot simpler. I've got that one jump jet on his side of the base right now, annoying the heck out of this guy. He's really trying to kill that. He does end up killing it. I sent another jump jet. He's got two militants trying to guard it, while the missile is basically mine at this point, as I've got two units on two launch pads. He misses the first missile as he tries to desperately move his militant to hit to the bottom launch pad. I kill one of his harvester. I send another jump jet to the harvester. You've got to punish these guys. He's got a double harvester. He already has a Temple of Nod up. And I didn't have the army to counter the Temple of Nod units very well because I didn't have Tech Lab units, nor did I have very super strong units. My units were all early to mid game. So you really have to just outplay your guy. He's already got a Confessor up, and the Confessor is going to wreck any of my infantry units up here. I've got so many jump jets, so I send them and once again try to kill that Harvester as the missile is not really close to finishing anyways. I decided to go for double shocks and 2 shocks generally at the same time. When you gang up on a Confessor, the Confessor will die. The Confessor is definitely a very annoying unit to deal with. I built some Talons here, which definitely was questionable. I could have just went for a lot of Shockwaves. As Talons are not very good against Confessors, it's mainly just the Shockwaves that you want to really go for when you're dealing with the Confessors. And I pretty much have once again control of all 3 of the launch pads here, as I'm just doing a much better job at microing this guy. I tile block his Confessor right there, getting me that missile with my Shockwave. Had I not tile blocked that Confessor with my Shockwave, the game would have definitely prolonged. It would have been a longer game for sure. But as you guys can see, once again guys, you really need to focus on your micro, which is very important, and be comfortable with the army that you bring. Really practice with that one type of army and one type of unit, or that army composition that can really help you win these games. Alright, this will be the final game, and it was GDI versus GDI that I want to show you guys here. And I'm using the same army. Once again, guys, I'm bringing the same Barrack War Factory and the Talon army, just a well-rounded early to mid-game. And it's always a standard start for me. I go right into the Rifleman from the beginning, as it's a great early game scouting unit. He's got a Shockwave coming out. I see this. I build a Shockwave of my own, and this Shockwave and the Rifleman will be able to beat this one Shockwave by itself. He goes for 2 Shockwaves. Generally, a lot of the players right now are not using the Rifleman or the Militant, and so it takes a while. It takes a lot longer for your opponent to build 2 Shockwaves as opposed to building 1 Rifleman and a Shockwave, which is what I do. Now, he actually beats me in this Shockwave Rifleman fight. I go accidentally for a jump jet squad. I was, I guess, trying to go for his Harvester, which was a mistake because he still had too many Shockwaves here. So I go for another Shockwave, but I run the jump jet through to delay that second Shockwave in trying to control that launch pad here. And once again, my double shocks now will be able to clear out his shocks. I get another shock there. I see 2 Harvesters now. I know I've got to stop this guy. Once again, he's trying to go for Tech Labs. So many of these players try to go for Tech Labs, and they try to push for that late game. You really, once again, need to stop that. I sent out a jump jet immediately. He's positioned his Shockwave really well, so I don't walk any of my Shockwave into that, because as soon as I do that, it's a death sentence. He builds a Lieutenant Strongarm turret, which definitely was good because he wanted to wear down my Shockwave. I send another jump jet down south to distract him. He doesn't put a Shockwave onto the launch pad. He gives me the missile, free missile for me, and that's why I love these jump jets. They distract your opponents so much that, you know, you really take his attention away from capturing instead of capturing the missiles, he has to protect his Harvesters, because that's what his build is about, and that's what so many players go for. And he does a great job at protecting his Harvesters. I finally get his Harvester here. I bypass those Shockwaves. I get another Shockwave down on the bottom, take out those 2 weakened Shockwaves. He's got Wolverines. I see this. I go for double tanks immediately, as I suspect that he's got more, you know, probably the Titan and, you know, other maybe other vehicle units as well that will come out. And there comes out a Titan right now. Tanks are not good against Titans, but I didn't really have, I mean, I did have a choice. I could have went for jump jets, but that Wolverine needed to go down first because Wolverines will absolutely wreck jump jets, and I'm just trying to focus on that Wolverine and the Titan here, and the Titan's gonna wreck my tanks here. I go for some jump jets. Missile's almost done, so I've realized, hey, you know what? I can take out this Titan, build these quick jump jets, and I can just tile block his slower unit. He gets a Disruptor, and that Disruptor is very dangerous, but as you guys can see, that Wolverine cannot step onto that launch pad as my micro was just too awesome here. His Disruptor almost ends up killing that that jump jet, and his Wolverine would have gone on top of it, and his Disruptor would have Disruptor and Wolverine would have eventually captured that missile. So I stopped him in the nick of time, and that's really what I wanted to tell you guys about in this episode. I hit 14 wins. You guys can see Rivals Champions event complete 140. That was my score. I lost one game, and that was me simply just fully concentrating and playing on the iPad. So you can see just how important it is to focus 100% into the game if you want to win these. Win these with a very high win rate. Any distractions, any small distractions will definitely cause your game to be a bit weaker. And definitely when I was live streaming, we could clearly see that I was also a little bit distracted trying to talk to you guys on the chat and everything like that. And it's a lot easier to focus when it's just you playing comfortably and no one else around watching or anything like that. But I love live streaming, so it's not something I'm going to stop for sure. I'm still going to be doing live streaming for you guys. But I just want to show you guys this third Rivals run that I did this week. And look at that. I only had one loss, 14 wins out of 15. I could have definitely got 15 wins, but then I just couldn't win that one game because, of course, sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. But anyways, I just wanted to show you guys some of these games here that I played in the last Champions run. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys did well on the Rivals Champions run as well, and I'll see you guys next time.